¿Qué pasa, chavales? Bueno. Hoy os traigo una paranoia de juego increíble. Es una cosa muy rara. Pero, la verdad, me han hablado muy bien de él. He estado mirando. Y digo, hay que comprárselo ya, hay que tenerlo. Y la cosa es que es una paranoia increíble. Vamos a empezar la partida. Es una cosa absolutamente rara. O sea, va la historia sobre que hay un narrador, el narrador cuenta la historia de un tío en una oficina y tú vas haciendo cosas y el narrador pues te va indicando lo que va pasando en la historia y tú puedes hacerle caso o desviarte de ella, o sea, se la puede liar gorda.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk.
Sí, pulsando botones.
To push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy.
Sí, era muy feliz.
And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened. This complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Ah, vale, que ya lo puedo controlar. Oh my god. Bien, a ver, no podemos poner aquí MKDIR o algo. Esto no se sabe qué sistema operativo lleva, ¿no? Bueno. A ver, a ver. ¿Qué hora es? ¿Qué hora es? Oh, Dios mío, es muy tarde. A ver, no me deja entrar aquí ni aquí.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Vale. Voy a la sala de reuniones. Te voy a hacer caso, ¿eh? Vale, por aquí no deja, por aquí tampoco, por aquí tampoco. Muy bien, pero... cerramos puerta, abrimos puerta. Sí, el motor Source de toda la vida, sí, lo que viene siendo.
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, he entered the door on his left.
¿Y qué pasaría si me meto por la derecha? ¿Qué manía, eh? Ya tiene uno que... Uf. Voy a hacerle caso. Espérate que no sé cómo va a tirar este hombre por el qué camino quiere tirar. Nada.
Yet there was not a single person here either.
Ya no hay
Feeling a
ninguna.
wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office,
Vale.
hoping he might find an answer there.
Vale, venga, vamos a ver al jefe. Hala. Espérate, ¿esto qué es?
Stanley stepped into the broom closet,
Sí.
but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
Sí, regresó su camino. ¿Pero por qué? ¿Por qué no me dejas a mí hurgar aquí? Yo quiero hurgar aquí, déjame hurgar. Ahí...
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow, just
Pero...
an empty broom
ya,
closet.
vamos a
No
ver.
reason to still be here.
Sí, pero si yo quiero hurgar aquí, ¿qué pasa? ¿No me vas a dejar o qué? Mira, no hay nada, ¿no? ¿O qué?
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet. He wasn't even doing anything. At least if there was something
Qué pesado que sí, que es desconcertante.
justified in some way. As
Que...
it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA.
Sí, vale, ¿y qué? ¿Qué pasa? Algo raro.
Are you really still in the broom closet?
Sí, sigo en el armario de
Standing around
limpieza.
doing nothing?
Que sí, que sigo ahí. Pues
Please
sigo
offer me
ahí.
some explanation here. I'm genuinely confused.
No estás confundido de ninguna manera. Estoy en este armario para hacerte hablar. Para hacerte hablar, nada más. O sea, no te rayes. Bueno, fuera. Que no hay nada que hacer.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Bueno, mira, te voy a hacer caso. Te voy a hacer caso, pero no. No. Executive Barroom. Oh, Dios mío. ¿Eso aquí? Me da mal rollo que las puertas se cierren detrás mío. Me da mal rollo. Y encima se queda bloqueada ya. Bueno. A ver. Aquí no hay nada, ¿no? Vale. Aquí delante, entonces.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this.
Claro, hombre. 2845.
Yet incredibly, by simply pushing
increíblemente,
random
¿no?
buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
Oye, ¿puedo tocar el piano? Nada. Uy, esto. Uy, esto. Esos son gráficos Left 4 Dead. No hay que ir por aquí, solo por aquí, ¿no? Ah, mira, por aquí. No, no hay nada. Bien. Vamos a darle a este botón porque tiene pinta de ser muy llamativo. A ver. Y qué mal rollo. Qué mal rollo, qué mal rollo. Loading.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
Bueno, tranquilo, ¿eh? No te vayas a...
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
Vale, tranquilo, ¿eh? Escape. Dale a escape. Ah, no, perdón. Uy, que me la quieren liar. Vamos a tirar para adelante. Ya no tengo vuelta atrás, no, vale, bien.
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
Pues no lo sé si tengo la fuerza para averiguarlo, pero vamos. ¿Otra vez aquí? A ver.
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. Lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them.
Nos tenían aquí con cámaras, aquí. Bueno, me parece muy fuerte. Esto es Gran Hermano, perdona que te diga. Muertos. Implore.
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
Bueno.
No. He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
No.
But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Qué mal rollo. Qué mal... Mid control sheet waiting input. Buah. Una consola de
And when at
comandos.
last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for.
Bien, entonces si le doy a on la lío parda. Y si le doy a off, es que esto demasiado, de repente, tantas opciones, o sea, tan brusco, o a tomar por culo todo, o bueno, a tomar por culo todo. ¡Hostias! ¿En serio? No puede ser.
Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
Bien. Mismo sitio, misma situación. Pero otra opción diferente. On.
Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control?
Sí.
Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are set to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than
¿Pero qué me estás contando? Pero que había que salir de aquí. Ah, no me da tiempo. Uno. Sí, sí.
To let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
¿En serio tengo que entrar en esto oscuro? Me cago en su puta madre.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this.
¿En serio?
Reach out to her.
¿En serio?
If you can truly place your faith.
¿Hola? Pero...
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Oh.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley. Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Ah, qué bien. Le
Look
doy a
at him
like.
there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
¿Y qué coño? Bueno, me
And
están...
I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it.
¿En serio? ¿Quieres que no lo presione? Pues no quiero estar en el trabajo por la mañana. Quiero irme. Pero no me das una opción nada más que presionar el botón, pedazo de inútil. Tú mismo. Vale, voy a hacer lo del escape. Voy a escapar. Oh my god. Sí. Por favor, déjame entrar en el ascensor. Oh. Vale, me gusta más esto. Tranquilidad. Tranquilidad. Uf. What the fuck? Vamos a parar el ascensor porque si no, no para. What the fuck? El ascensor que no va a ningún sitio. Es increíble. ¿Por qué no baja? Vamos a ver ahora.
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read
No.
Mind Control Facility. Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
Lo suponía.
The door behind him was not shut. Stanley still had every opportunity to turn around.
Sí, tengo la oportunidad de hacerlo, pero no lo voy a hacer.
At this point, Stanley was making a conscious, concerted effort to walk forward and willingly confront his death.
Lo sé. Voy a hacerlo. Vale, de momento no ha pasado nada
As the
malo.
machine whirred into motion and Stanley was inched closer and closer to his demise,
Oh,
he
sí.
reflected that his life had been of no consequence whatsoever. Stanley can't see the bigger picture. He doesn't know the real story, trapped forever in his narrow vision of what this world is. Perhaps his death was of no great loss, like plucking the eyeballs from a blind man. So he resigned and willingly accepted this violent end to his brief and shallow life. Farewell, Stanley.
Oh my god. Oh my god. No.
"Farewell, Stanley," cried the narrator, as Stanley was led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, Stanley was obliterated as the machine crushed every bone in his body, killing him instantly.
Se nota que... ¿Me dejas pasar por aquí? No. No va a pasar nada. Es que parece que me puedo caer.
And yet it would be just a few minutes before Stanley would restart the game, back in his office, as alive as ever. What exactly did the narrator think he was going to accomplish?
Muy bien.
When every path you can walk has been created for you long in advance, death becomes meaningless, making life the same. Do you see now? Do you see that Stanley was already dead from the moment he hit start?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pero si te das cuenta... Esto no lo he visto ya. Es increíblemente raro este juego, pero mola muchísimo. Es una incógnita. Es a lo mejor como intentando simular una incógnita de la vida. O algo así, no sé. A lo mejor se quiere referir a algo. A la vida en sí, Exit.
Oh, look at these two. How they wish to destroy one another. How they wish to control one another. How they both wish to be free.
Adiós.
Don't let time...
Voy a morir. Y he muerto. Bueno, amigos, voy a dejar hasta que sepa seguir más adelante de cuando me autodestruyen, para saber si hay algún tipo de forma de parar el mecanismo, porque creo que es la única manera de seguir. He cogido bastantes caminos y ninguno de ellos me ha funcionado. Espero que os haya gustado este juego. La verdad, a mí me gusta, está bastante entretenido. Es muy raro, pero mola bastante saber qué opciones hay, porque cambia cada rato. Entonces mola un puñado. Bueno, pues nada, espero que os haya gustado y hasta luego.